or not. That is not his focus at all. His focus was to understand why the apple has fallen down. What is the reason behind it? It took him 20 years. Can you imagine? He published the book after 20 years, after understanding what is gravitational force. So, but at the same time, the job of a scientist or a teacher or an engineer is only to understand whatever knowledge or information you have and whatever you are going to give it to your students. What is the impact of that into the society? This is very important. Aparabodham, in Sanskrit, what we call aparabodham. Aparabodham is feeling of the other. The easiest way, the purpose of education, these are all my definitions. I have not taken from any textbook. These are all my convictions I am trying to share with you. For me, education is nothing but aparabodham. Altruism. In English, I can tell altruism. If you don't feel it for others, there is no purpose for education. Probably this could be the reason why Swami Vivekananda those days told a simple definition for education. Education is nothing but character building. You must have learned that. But we were not able to understand the depth of the statement what Swamiji has done on those days. Education is nothing but character building. Character building is what which will help you to bring that altruistic mindset in you. If you are not able to understand the feel of the other, there is no way. There is a Muni from the south called Ramana Maharshi. He is from Tamil Nadu. I am from Kerala. I was born in Kerala. So I know much more about that side. So Ramana Maharshi, one day somebody asked him, like, how do you deal with others? When you hear that, it's a very simple question. How do you deal with others? Probably we would have taken hours and hours to answer that. Maharshi, without a single thought, within a fraction of a second, he replied, there are no others. Imagine the depth of that answer. There are no others. In our traditional system, we say, Tattvamasi. Vedic declaration, what we call, there is a Tattvam Asi, means I am you. The moment I get a feel like you are all different forms of the me in a different name, in different color, in different complexion, that's all. If I can get that feel is called altruism. Once that feeling, if you can generate through education, whether you are a physicist, whether you are a mechanical engineer, computer engineer, or a lawyer, or whatever it is, you will do only contributions for the development of this world. This is very clear. So the very purpose of education is to bring that altruistic mind in you. Now, I am not a pseudoscientist. My job is not to tell everything what we had is the best. That's not telling is not my job. But I'm sure most of you, some of your college must be affiliated to KUK or Devilal University or some other, maybe my own university here, I don't know. Some of your independent institutions would have affiliated to some universities, which I know. And the university and the dean of academics or somebody would have told you, like the question patterns, how to set the questions, how to do the evaluations. I'm sure you would have attended also few sessions. In which all over the world, if you look today, they talk about Bloom's taxonomy. You heard about it? It's called Bloom's taxonomy. That's the way we set the question paper. That's the way we evaluate the students. So Bloom's taxonomy says some levels, that is starting from remember, to understand, to apply, to analyze, to evaluate, to create. Right? These are the levels. This is the teaching levels which we need to do. So it should reflect exactly in your question paper setting also, in your evaluation also. What I did was, just for my understanding, I tried to superimpose all these levels of teaching or education into a system what I had in my country. I just tried to superimpose and understand what it is. It was very surprising for me to know we had a set of teachers in traditional India. Again, I am telling, I am not claiming we had everything the best in this country. No. We were so good in spirituality, we were so good in philosophy, but physical sciences, we were not in that. It is true. I agree with you. Even with all those understanding, I tell you. The methodology, what we adopted in teaching, that was a wonderful system. We had different levels of teachers. The level 1 teacher is called Adhyapak. The job of an Adhyapak is only to transfer a data or information to a student. So that the first function of Bloom's taxonomy, remember, will happen. The next level of teacher is called Upadhyaya. The job of an Upadhyaya is nothing but the next level, understand the things. I mean, the knowledge. You convert the data information to the next knowledge level. Then the next level of teachers are called Acharya. The job of an Acharya is to apply the knowledge what you have. In the sense, you will analyze, and the skill, no? The skill set what you have, you will try to apply, and he is called the Acharya. Then comes the Shastri. The name of Shastri, that level of teacher, the job is to bring the insight into the subject. So he will be able to analyze it in a better way. Then comes the next level of teacher called the Pandit. Pandit is not a casket. If somebody is telling it is wrong. So Pandit is nothing but the person who can evaluate things perfectly. That person can bring wisdom into the teacher. He is called a Pandit. Then there is one more level of teacher. In Sanskrit, what we call it is Drishta. Drishta, there is a word. Drishta means he is the one who can do creativity. So all the college professors, I consider them, I equate them something like a Drishta. Your job is to bring that wisdom into the people. Because after once they do the graduation or masters, then they are ready to go for research and further activities, and you may help them in research too. So the level of this is Drishta. So Drishta is nothing but the person, the level in which you can create something. Now you look at that, remember, understand, apply, analyze, evaluate, and create. Adhyapak, Upadhyaya, Acharya, Shastri, Pandit, Drishta. And the Bloom's taxonomy ends there because they stop at create. Creativity is the final. In my country, Bharat, I had one more level. That level, what I call it, is Guru. Above Drishta, there is one more level of teacher, and I call him Guru. Simplest way of expression of the ultimate teacher. Gu plus Ru. Gu means darkness. Ru means light. When there is andhakar in your mind, lack of knowledge, how to remove andhakar? You have to bring some light. So in physics, there is no andhakar called. There is no darkness. Darkness is absence of light. So mind is with absence of light. So mind is andhakar. Buddhi is in andhakar. To take out that andhakar, the only option is to bring light there. So to remove the gu, you bring ru into that. Gu plus ru is called Guru. Many years ago, the Oxford Dictionary people, they tried to create an equivalent word for Guru. They had a discussion forum, then they decided better don't create anything, accept it as an English word. Today, Guru is an English word, everyone knows it. Pronunciation may be different because the depth of that word is so high. So, Guru is someone who will help you to bring Atma Sakshatkaram in you. Self-actualization. Maslow's theory, you would have studied. It's more like self-actualization. Bringing Atma Sakshatkaram into all the activities, whatever you do. That is why we say the power of a Guru, Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo, Maheshwara, Guru Sakshat Param Brahma, Tasmai Sri Gurave Nam, not Gurave. In grammatically it is Gurave Nam. Tasmai Sri Gurave Nam. So a teacher is The one who can maintain things, who can create things, he can destroy things. Three roles. Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva. Reason is this: the creator, then the maintainer, and the destructor. So you will have all these three roles. And another explanation, what it says is, Gu is Gunadita. Normally, every human is composed of three gunas. Three gunas we say, Sattva, Raja, Tamo gunas. This is what we say. And different combination of this. That's all a personality profile. So this is Gunadita. A teacher should be above all these gunas. And another is Rupa Varjita. You don't need to have a shape also for a teacher. Even you can take a guru, somebody is not even alive. He can be your guru. It's possible. My guru is not alive. I was a disciple of Swami Chinmayananda. I was so lucky. 1993 he died. I won't call died. Nirvana ho gaya, Swami Ji ka, 1993. And I still talk to him. I still take his blessings. I still take his reasoning. Why? Because he is Gunadita, formless. Rupa Varjita, formless. Gunadita, above simple gunas, all those characters. So that's the Guru level. So we also have one more level of teacher called the Guru. Your blue taxonomy has not yet reached there. They have reached up to DCRUST, up to creativity. So I strongly believe maybe after a year or so, you may get one letter from United Nations or from somewhere from UK or America. They will tell there is one more level we have to talk about, that is Guru. And that time all of us will follow. Till then, because you need a white man to tell, to believe and accept something. So what I want to tell you is, the kind of education system levels what we had was one among the best, number one. And the biggest realization in India in teaching was, we always believed it is impossible to teach anyone anything. I repeat once again, it is impossible to teach anyone anything. What you can do is, you can make the mentality of your student to a seeker level. Seeker. Once the mind becomes a seeker's level, the learning happens. You can't teach anyone anything. All the Vedic declarations, all the Upanishads, the language what they used is unbelievable. That's the way the texts were written. The Guru tells his student, once there was a teacher and also there was a student, that student asked his teacher this question, and that Guru told that student this. This is what my teacher told me. And I did a mananam out of it, interpretation out of it. If I am convinced, I can accept, or you can reinvent it. You can redefine it. This is the language written in all Upanishads. Nowhere it is told, you blindly believe it. No. There is no question of believing anything in our education. It is all convictions. Until and unless you get convinced, you don't need to accept. This is true with even belief in God. We don't call it as a belief. There is no belief of God. At least in our system, in Indian Bharatiya system, we won't say that I believe in God. If somebody is telling, then it is wrong. There is no belief. I never say that. If suppose my father is standing near me, I will never say, I believe this is my father. Will you say that? ऐसा बात करेंगे क्या आप? ये मेरा पिताजी है, मैं सोचता हूँ. नहीं नहीं नहीं. I am sure this is my father, because it is a conviction. It is not a belief at all. This is my father. His name is this. Because you are convinced. You don't need a DNA test for that. Your mother told you this is your father. You don't need any bigger test than that. That's the biggest thing. It's a conviction. So we don't have any belief at all. Even in education, you don't need to believe many things. You have to get convinced. So the moment if you want to get convinced, you need to be a seeker. Unless and until you are not a seeker, you can't learn things. So the first job of a teacher, you as a teacher, is not to teach at all. Don't teach any of your students, at least from tomorrow onwards. Make them a seeker. Convert them as a seeker. Many of you must be doing PhD now, because I can see only one person has done PhD. Others must be registered or planning to do PhD. Am I right? I don't know. How many of them have a PhD here? 1, 2, 3, maybe 4 or 5. Only in frontline I know. So others have to do it. You know what are the qualities you need to become a researcher? Only 3 things. You need to inculcate 3 qualities in you if you want to become a good researcher. Number 1, you should be an Atmanveshi. Atmanveshi means soul seeker. You should know exactly what is the soul in that. Okay? That's the first quality you need. Second quality is you should be a Satyanveshi, truth seeker. Your job is to find out the truth. And the third and the most important quality is you should be a Bhikshandehi. Bhikshandehi means like a mendicant, like a beggar. Why beggar? Because I may go to a house for begging. Maybe a 4-year-old boy will come and give me something. I have to take it and thank him. A beggar is not choosing. Same way, a researcher should not have any ego at all. You may get an information or help or support from anywhere. You should be egoless, zero ego. The moment you become a mendicant, you will never fight with your guide. You will not have any issues with your guide. You will find out yourself. The whole universe is open in front of you. You go and find out your details because you possess 3 qualities. You are a Bhikshandehi, you are an Atmanveshi, and you are a Satyanveshi. So these 3 qualities, if you can inculcate in you will become a good teacher, you will become a good student, you will become a very good researcher. These are the things which you need to inculcate in you. Now, I want to tell you how in the classroom also, probably you would have noticed when you teach your students. Our general habit is what? No? The most important thing when you want to teach, you shout as loudly as possible so that you think that it will reach the last man in the class. But that is not the way at all. The Guru told, my teacher told me, the most important thing when you teach, when you want to communicate, speak very slowly and with decent pace, not in a hurry. Very low volume, slow pace, deliver the content you want to speak. When I reduce my volume, what benefit I get? Your Shraddha will come to me. You get me? Learning कैसे होता है? आपका श्रद्धा मेरे ऊपर आया तो मेरा साउंड वॉल्यूम और ऐसा शाउट करके instead of reaching my high volume sound to the last man, what I want is the Shraddha from you should come to me. Once the Shraddha comes to me, the learning happens. Shraddhavan labhade jnanam. Suna hoga. What does it mean? The person who has Shraddha in whatever he does. Shraddha is nothing but ultimate focus and concentration in whatever you do. Shraddha ka meaning वही है. Full dedicated focus and concentration in whatever you do. If that is there, उनको मिलेगा ज्ञान. ज्ञान इन संस्कृत में ज्ञानम बोलता है, हिंदी में ज्ञान लिख नहीं सकता, इसलिए ज्ञान बोलता. किसको ज्ञान मिलता है? वो बंदा उसके पास श्रद्धा है तो उसको अपने आप आएगा ज्ञान. इसलिए हम बोलता है श्रद्धावान लभते ज्ञानम. लभते ज्ञान. That's the way you can do it. Now, what is the levels of knowledge I can tell you? This is also you should understand. There are 4 levels of knowledge. Okay? Very important. ध्यान से सुनो. First level is called information. Information or knowledge is called jnanam. data or information is called jnanam. Jnanam or information is nothing but the stock register of the past. Just the stock register of the past. The one who carry the information or the one who passes the information. Neither the one who possesses it nor the one who receives it have no role in that. It is something I received and I am giving you. First standard से fourth standard तक ऐसा एग्जाम होता है. You teach them this subject 1 into 1 1, 1 into 2 2, 1 into 3 3. कैसे है पूछने का नहीं. From 1 to 10 or 1 to 16. In my time it was 16 and 16 तक मदद करता था. No question of just taking. If you follow the same system, same way of transferring information, even in a college, what happens? आपका बच्चा आएगा आपके पास, नहीं तो नहीं आएगा, वो बोलेगा मैडम सर प्लीज गिव मी योर नोट, मैं जेरोक्स करके दे देंगे, है ना. वो जेरोक्स मशीन और आप में कोई फर्क नहीं. वो आपका मुखारबिंद से मिला और जेरोक्स मशीन से मिला, क्या फर्क है? कंटेंट वही है. कई साल से यही देता हूँ, बच्चे को मालूम है वो 7 का है तो ये नोट ले लो, जेरोक्स करो. वो मार्केट में अवेलेबल भी होगा. मैं ग्रेटर नोएडा में देखा है, देयर इज ए जेरोक्स मार्केट, वेयर प्रोजेक्ट मार्केट बोलते हैं. हर टीचर का ये भी मिलता है, नोट भी मिलता है वहाँ. तो ये लेके जाता है, वो बोलता है इट इज है ना अंदर. तो वो बोलता है क्यों क्लास पे आके 1 घंटा वेस्ट कर. तो वो बोलेगा सर अटेंडेंस दे दो. आप कल से ट्राई करके देखो, बच्चों को बोलो बच्चों अटेंडेंस फ्री, आने का जरूरत नहीं. इफ यू वांट, कितने लोग आएगा, दिस इज द बिगेस्ट टेस्ट यू शुड डू टुमारो व्हेन यू गो. आस्क योर स्टूडेंट्स, I will not give any attendance. Everybody will get minimum. Those who want come at 8 o'clock. No delay. 1 hour you have to sit. The moment you change the content from a simple information to the next level, because it is just the stock register of a past which you are just transferring, that has no more. A scientific knowledge need to have different dimensions. Whether it is objective science or subjective science, it need to have some rationality. The content what you talk and give. It need to have some conviction. It need to have some truth. It should give some opportunity for thinking. It should change the perception of the student. Or he should be in a position to perceive it from a different angle, not from the angle what you say. He should look for the truth. He should look for the certainty in it. You should look the reliability in that what you speak. You will also check whether it is repeatable. Every scientific content should be repeatable. Is there any justification? Is there any evidence behind it? Or is it possible to falsify? Falsifiability. The most important word for every scientist and researcher is falsifiability. If something is not possible to falsify, it's not a science. Today you may learn something, tomorrow it may be wrong. So these are all some of the parameters which you need to have when you give a simple information to the next level knowledge. हमारा टीचिंग प्रोसेस में ये कितने तक जाता है, कितना होता है, वो आप you question yourself which will tell. So the next level is something called interpretation. Information is over, jnanam is over. Now next is interpretation. Interpretation is called something like, I can tell you, vyakhyan. The first one is jnanam, just some information. Next level is vyakhyanam. In Sanskrit we call vyakhyan, interpretation. Here what happens, you bring lot of logical and rational conclusions in the content which you deal with your students. And you try to correlate it with some information which was already existing, what is available now, and you bring a different perspective out of it. For example, if I just say 1947, just I say a number 1947, something which comes to your mind would be India got independence. Nobody taught you, but that has come. If it is a Pakistani, he will think Pakistan's formation. He never think about India at all. Right? It is just a number that has no meaning. You as a teacher, how you make a simple information to interpretation is, you should bring the student's mind to ask questions like, when did Indian partition happen? When you pose a question like, when did Indian partition happen? If you ask HAPPEN, okay, after did, happened, not happened. Many people make mistakes, don't do that. Question mark. This is the question. Then, why it happened? How it happened? Who all were behind it? You ask a number of such questions. Then starts the learning. That is the moment your student will take it up as an interpretation, vyakhyan. A simple jnanam, information, has gone to the next level and it has become vyakhyan. उस पे व्याख्यान आ गया. Then, now, the next level, you brought that questioning ability and wonderment in every student. So this is what mankind used to progress till now what we are. No honeybee asked a question. Why I am constructing a beehive like this? The basic structure of a beehive, honeycomb, is even an extraordinary architect cannot design that. It's such a shell-like wall structure. Even architects copy that today for strong structures. It's possible to make. But what it was doing 5,000 years ago is doing the same. You know why? No wonderment, no question. It was because of the impulse and instinct of the nature it did it. It never asked, why should I do this? How can I improve it? The house what I constructed 5 years ago and today are different. Otherwise, the very same honeybee would have constructed a porch in front of that, and in the rainy time it comes and dry up and goes inside. It never thought of it. Because that's not the question. No wonderment and no questioning ability. But you as a human, mankind, has given that subtle instrument called intellect, buddhi, which is given to you to question things. Unless and until you are not utilizing that capability of questioning and wonderment, that education has no purpose. That is the reason why when it comes to the Vyakhyan stage, you should bring that aspect, questioning ability and wonderment. Now comes to the next level of knowledge, that I call it as a critique. CRITIQUE, critique. What is critique means? Critique means, it's in Sanskrit you can say vimarsam. Jnanam, Vyakhyanam, Vimarsam. The third one is Vimarsam. Vimarsam is what? Next level. Not even questioning this. It is more of pragmatic approach and practicality of your teaching. In which, for example, Kalidasa lived in AD 5, 5th century. And in India, when we teach literature, we call him Indian Shakespeare. What a nonsense you tell me. Shakespeare lived in the 16th, 17th century. And you call Kalidasa Indian Shakespeare. He lived in 5th century. Aryabhatta, Indian Copernicus. Vyasa, Indian Homer, you say. It is certainly not an objective literary perspective. It's not an objective literary perspective. It is a pure colonial perspective. Because you still want to look through that yellow glass of the Brit. They ruled us, and you think that Shakespeare is above Vyasa, so you want to call it as Indian Kalidasa, Indian Shakespeare. Kalidasa is called Indian Shakespeare. Rather, I believe Britishers should have called Shakespeare British Kalidasa. You get me?
Yes, sir.
This perspective is called a pragmatic, practical critique. My dear friends, please bring any subject you teach. Let it be strength of material, let it be machine design, let it be applied mechanics, let it be Python language, no problem. Bring the element of critique in that, in the mind of the students. Not just passing an information. Given this way, so that there will be a real objective perspective which will come in. Now the fourth level, which normally none of the objective scientists, us, are not bothered, but we need to bother it. There is a reason for it. So that is the fourth level I want to tell you. I call it as aesthetics. Aesthetic is nothing but lavanya. In Sanskrit, what you call lavanya. Maybe Hindi, maybe there is a word like lavanya, I don't know. Lavanyam is nothing but aesthetics. So what are the four levels I told? Jnanam, Vyakhyanam, Vimarsham, and Lavanya. Means aesthetics. What is it? I tell you, why we need aesthetics. In everything you do, you need aesthetics. Suppose I use a word called chair. I'm just using chair. This is a chair, that is another chair. But this chair is not that chair. Totally different. I love to sit in this chair. You can sit till evening. But Oksad has done a right thing in choosing this. Backside is wonderful. Very nicely I can sit. I love to sit in this chair. Maybe the one which you are sitting is not as comfortable as this, which I know. But chair is a chair. In that case, what happens? It is only the macro level you are talking. Samanya Jnana. It is just a Samanya Jnana. Like leaf. What is leaf? It is just a leaf. But every leaf is different. नीम का लीफ अलग है, दूसरा बनाना पेड़ का लीफ अलग है, दोनों कोई कंपैरिजन भी नहीं, उतना फर्क. लेकिन you need something to talk about it. ऐसे सामान्य ज्ञान. सामान्य ज्ञानम in the sense is a very specific truth or a specific reality I can say. It's a very specific reality I can tell. This is a chair, that is a leaf, but every leaf is different. To know about that, it's a generic truth. Sorry, this is a generic truth. Chair, leaf. But if I want to know a specific truth or specific reality, savishesha jnanam, you can say in Sanskrit. The other one is a samanya jnanam. This is a savishesha. Very, very specific truth or reality. It's a micro level. The other one is a macro level. This is a micro level. To make you understand, I will just tell a small. It's a story. It's not a reality. My wife told me to buy a sari, green sari. Just think like that. And I went to the market and I bought a green sari, which I felt very good. Okay. I told the shopkeeper, show me all green saris. He showed me 10, out of which one I picked, and I felt that this is the green. Wonderful. I picked it, came to my home, and I thought that my wife would be very happy now. And I went and presented it to my wife. Take this. The moment she saw the sari, she just threw it out. She said, what is this? Not this green. The green, what she was looking, was something else. I chose this green because this was the green my girlfriend was liking when I was a student. What is registered in my brain about green is the perception of my girlfriend. Oh, she liked that green. So I thought, okay, she may like it. So every green is not the same green. You understand? That is the reason why we need aesthetics in whatever we do. Why we need art? People say why we should read a novel. Novel is going to help you anything. Physics, I can do something. I can create something. What you do with a novel? Why to listen to music? Why to see a drama? My dear friends, it is needed for mankind. You know why? When I read a novel, Anna Karenina, or when I read War and Peace, or some other novel of my choice, I transform myself into something else and transport into a different level. Imagine, I want to know the life of an army man, an officer in the border. Can I join army today? No. None of you could. But you want to know, you have only single life, very limited time. You cannot understand or know other many things in the universe. But you as a human, provided with intellect, has been given this ability through aesthetic. What you do when you read a novel or when you watch a movie, you place yourself into the hero's position. And when he beat a police officer, you feel happy, as if you are hit. You get me? This is what it happens. So I want to know the life of a prostitute. The only way is reading a novel. Or if I want to know the life of a doctor, medical doctor, maybe I may read a novel. Or I may act in a drama. I may act in a drama so that I watch a drama so that I can become. So that you will become a better human being by bringing aesthetics into that. So unless and until you bring that aesthetic angle in science also, you won't be able to transform yourself into next level. That is why I tell you, you have to bring that lavanyatmagata even in science, so that your science will become totally different from Bin Laden science. You get me? We don't want to produce Bin Laden. We want scientists, we want teachers, we want students who can get that aparabodham, what I told, altruism. Ultimate purpose of education is to bring that altruism into that. So, to understand the real depth and dimension of a subjective, objective reality, you need art, literature, novel, etc. Otherwise, you can't. Rabindranath Tagore has written a beautiful poem where the mind is without fear. I don't know how many of you have read it. He wrote in this way, where the mind is without fear and the head is held high, where the knowledge is free, where the world has not been broken up into fragments of narrow domestic walls. Means, purpose of education is to get a freedom in thinking. We think that since you are allowed to do few things, you think that you are free. It's not like that. No creature other than human has given any freedom. None of the animals, none of the birds. It's all pre-programmed thing. A bird can just fly the way it is designed. The way it can eat, the way it can sit, nothing more than that. That's why a bird is doing the same thing for 500 years. That's the only reason. But we have been provided this intellect, that extra element. So freedom is the freedom in me to think and decide no to things that I have been convinced are wrong. And if you are not using that, my dear friends, none of you are using your freedom. The freedom is the freedom in me to say yes to things that I have been convinced are right. That is the freedom which you have to use. If that freedom comes, you will be out of this fragmented, this narrow domestic walls. If you see the motto of Vishwabharati University, Vishwabharati University is a university, started by Rabindranath Tagore. He took a motto from the Rig Veda in which it is written, Yatra Vishwam Bhavati Ekanidam. Yatra Vishwam Bhavati Ekanidam. Its meaning is, the whole world is like a bird's nest. There is no barrier. Let all of us live together in a single bird's nest. That's the purpose of university. It's like Vishwa Bharati. It's not just for a particular place. Why we need a gate? You put that money in a lab, buy one more equipment. Let people come 24 hours, 365 days. Why should I close my gate? I cannot close my mind. The purpose of a university is not to close down. It's not a tea shop. Start morning 9 o'clock, open, evening 5 o'clock, close down. What is this you are talking? Yatra Vishwam Bhavati Ekanidam. Means the whole world is like a bird's nest. I want the entire world should fly into me and all should be together. Let us all live together. Let us all think together. Let us all work together for the humanity in this world, not just one part of this place. So how can we bring it? We have to bring Atma Nirbharata in. This is what I want to tell you. Modi ji used a word called Atma Nirbharata. Atma Nirbharata is nothing but resilience. The equivalent English word could be resilience. How to bring resilience? There is only one way. In the traditional way, we say reduce, reuse, recycle, recover, repurpose, all these we were using. But today, to bring in this AI world and the big data world, you need to restart, rethink, reshape, reimagine. So, what I believe is those who navigate and succeed in times of change, all of them had one thing in common. Those who were able to change themselves and navigate and be successful, they all had one thing in common. They all were agile and resilient. So bring agility and resilience and what. So let us all together bring that resilience into the work what we are doing and make every student a seeker with all these qualities. And ADP 2020 will help you to do that. If we can do this way, because the future of this nation is on your shoulders. We are all in the other stage now. I can only guide you, nothing more than that. So if you bring that component of resilience and agility in your education, nobody can touch India. India will become the Vishwaguru. I don't have any doubt. 101%, India will become the Vishwaguru. So in that journey of Vishwaguru, making India back to Vishwaguru, we all have a very, very strong role. So I want to take this opportunity to bless you and wish you to take up that role and let us together make our India, Bharat great again. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.